Hey guys, Gast here, and we're going to talk about Anime North today. This video is super overdue. Anime North was, I think, in May? Yeah, the end of May. I got back from work, I worked out, and I was like, man, I should really, make a vlog about this now. So I was going to do it, and then I just literally never did, and I think it was just because I didn't feel like going through all my footage for so long, but now we're here. Before I go talk about that, hello to the newest 600 people who have subscribed since the Hector video. Welcome, I'm Gast. This is what I look like. And I was at Anime North going and seeing all these cosplayers and going and seeing even fans and even meeting with some really old friends of mine that I've never actually met before. Funny story, I'll get to that. While I was writing this script, I started to recall more and more things about the trip, to a point where I just kind of have a documented thing about how I chronologically remember everything. I flew to Toronto, paid it out of my own pocket and everything. Now everything really starts when I get off from the plane station? No, that's airport. Wow, I actually didn't know what airport was for 5 seconds. Plane station. Fuck, my hair is greasy. Is it? Whatever. So the convention was at the Delta Hotel / the Toronto Convention Center, and then another part of it was in the Marriott Hotel. One of the hotels in further down the highway that was there. Anyway, so first thing I do is I get my media badge because I was media, which meant I got to do anything. I didn't have to wait in any line. I can just go into a panel and I could just watch. I can take videos. I can basically kind of produce my own experience through my channel, which is the channel, obviously. And yeah, so I got my media badge. First thing I did is I tweeted out, it's like, hey, I'm here. I got my media badge. Someone come meet me. A couple guys who watched my videos came in. We talked about what we're going to be planning to do today. It was kind of fun just kind of seeing someone be like, hey, you're Gas. And I was like, yeah, thanks for coming. I didn't have a hotel room booked because when these hotels go up for the convention of that year, the hotels go up super fast. It's actually kind of crazy how fast these things get taken up. I needed to put my stuff somewhere, so I actually first met up with a friend of mine who is in the Fire Emblem hacking community, and he let me park my stuff in his hotel room just until the day was over where I could pick it back up. Funny enough, this guy is part of my Bloodlines beta testing team. If you guys don't know, on the side I make a Fire Emblem 7 ROM hack, and he's one of the beta testers, so we actually talked about the hack in person, which was I don't know, interesting to say the least. Also, the second I opened my bag, I spilled a bag of Tostitos on his carpet, which was kind of stupid. I felt kind of bad. It's like, hey, I'd never met you before. Thanks for letting me put my stuff in your room. I'm just gonna spill a bag of Tostitos. And it wasn't like a freshly opened bag of Tostitos either. It was those impossible to hold on to crumbs. It was almost like powder. And so when it fell, it was well, I just I powdered your carpet with salty chips. Sorry, man. And that's how my day started, was an accident. Really, the convention for me starts when I'm walking through outside of the Toronto Congress Center, where the main kind of area where people are showing off their cosplays are at. So I see a bunch of these cool cosplays. There's a mix between Dragon Ball Z stuff and Sailor Moon stuff and some wacky anime, whatever. Funny thing is, I barely watch anime ever, so I was really only there for a few specific things to really appreciate, because there were so many of these popular anime costumes and stuff that I have no idea what they're on about. It made me think man, maybe I should actually start watching anime, but I don't have the time, or I don't really care. And yeah, so there were cosplayers on the sidewalk. They were on the they were in the shade. There was just so many people, and they were all just chilling, and it was really cool. It was really interesting to see so many people at the same time really into pop culture and that kind of thing. which is a very startling difference compared to where I'm from, where the most popular pop culture is music from the 50s to the 70s on the radio. Yeah, so big difference, really cool experience for the first time ever. I even saw some Fire Emblem cosplays too when I took pictures of them, and I was like, hey, can I take a picture of your like Robin or your Lucina or whatever? It was pretty interesting. The main convention center was mostly closed off except for like these giant warehouse areas where all the vendor shops were set up. There was a bunch of vendor artist stands, trading card game rooms, a little like a bigger area with all the special guests that were in the convention this year. Needless to say, first time being at a convention, got lost a bunch of times. I was like, I can't even make sense of this booklet. It was like, what is this booklet even? I couldn't figure out what any of the rooms were, and kind of nobody else could. It was not the best like blueprint of things, if that's what you would call it, a map. I don't know. But yeah, I bought some stuff I think on day one, but most of the first day was just browsing these vendor shops and figuring out what panel I should attend, like classic convention things. I can really only recall 2 of them where I stayed for the whole thing in terms of like panels, and that was the Fire Emblem panel and the YouTube panel. The rest didn't really interest me, or they were taking place at conflicting times, or they were in like the farther hotel where I did not feel like walking in the scalding heat of that entire weekend. It was like brutally hot. It was like you mix the heat with the humidity of Toronto, and it's just like fudge. It's like too hot. It's too hot for me, man. I also, probably one of the most memorable moments of the event, and I'll say memorable moments because there's like maybe 5 in total. I went to a panel called Toxicity in Fandoms panel, which was actually like, it ended up being hilarious for me as an observer because it started fine. Like the panelists were just talking about like acceptance and, you know, bad things about fandoms and being bullied and stuff, which is like, you know, cool. I get it. I've been part of fandoms too. Like I am part of fandoms. This information resonates with me. It wasn't particularly like groundbreaking, but it was just kind of a place where they can talk about how to manage and how to moderate that kind of stuff. So then 10 minutes in, some guy without a badge to even get in to the convention gets up and he starts saying the most like off-color shit I've ever heard anyone say in real life. Like, you know, all those like viral meme videos where it's like someone's like being super obnoxious and it's like, holy cow, I've never experienced that in my life. I was floored by what this guy was saying. So, and I'm paraphrasing here, he like slandered like the furry community like super hardcore and literally dropped the N-bomb to describe them, and it was fucked, dude. It was fucked. Super racist, like by some random white guy, and then some other guy from the other side of the room got right in this guy's face, and another guy from the room came in and tried to like break them up and tried to like de-escalate the situation. I was like, this is actually happening. I was like chuckling in because it was like nothing like bad is gonna happen to the point where like someone's safety is at, like my safety is at risk. It got really escalated, sure, and there was like stuff going back. There was like these guys are going back and forth. The panelists were like, I don't know what to do. It was like just very vocal and loud, and I'm like sitting there like a lot of people are like, what is actually happening here? This is hilarious. The guy beside me is actually going like, he's praying. He's like praying nothing bad happens. It was crazy, man. The rest of the panel got really boring after that, and then I left because I realized this really isn't the conversation that I particularly care about. But that was definitely crazy. It was super weird. Anyway, so in terms of the other like highlights that I was looking forward to go to was the 3 Fire Emblem shoots that were across the entire convention. So, which kind of surprised me because I thought there was just going to be like one big photo shoot, but there was actually 3, with one being the one you all want to go to. It was fun. Like, I got to see how the, photos are taken, how the things are organized. It's really just one person just kind of yelling and organizing everything. But I also got to meet a few fans who were just happened to be there. I was like kind of like live tweeting everything that was going on. And I said, I'm going to the Fire Emblem photo shoot at this location. Come meet me. And then I met some people and they were like super cool about it. And yeah, it was really cool meeting fans. That was probably one of the best experience, just seeing people actually like watch your stuff in person. It's like, this is real. Like, this is pretty cool. It's never happened before, and it's just really sick. In hindsight, I was like, man, I really kind of wish I didn't flake on my Garrick costume idea, which completely fell through. I had the headband done. It's at my friend's who helped me make the costume, and it's getting sent to me because I keep thinking like, oh, this is something I should continue doing. It's never gonna happen. I'm gonna say it will, but it's never gonna happen. I've accepted that. I've accepted that conceptually it's a great idea. I think I could greatly pull it off, but it's just, someone's gonna need to cover me at work because it's gonna take a long time. Most of the convention, for the rest of it was, I spent a lot more time at the vendor booths than the actual convention and the panelists and stuff like that. I saw a bunch of crafts. I bought a stopwatch. I bought some art pieces. It was just kind of more of a pop culture farmers market to me, which was cool. Yeah, the next day, one of my former patrons, because I don't have a Patreon anymore, actually flew in from the States, I think it was Detroit, to link up with me. So that was really sweet. He showed up with like a Gas t-shirt. I met him. I met another guy who was a former patron of mine, and we both started talking, and it was like, this guy actually flew. His name's Sherm. This guy actually flew from the States to go see the convention, not just to see me, but like, it was really cool that we talked about the convention. He was like, fuck it, I'll go. And then he came, and then we met, and it was really sweet. And then he and I kind of like buddied up, and we went to different locations together. We both went to the YouTube panel, which was really cool. Now, the YouTube panel was something that I didn't expect would be there, but it ended up being probably one of the best parts about the convention. The panelist was, I think his name was James. He's the guy behind Epic Game Music, he does like metal covers of video game tracks and stuff like that. HERE, who is composed of Shane Lewis and Adam. I don't know his last name, but they're from HERE. It's a YouTube show about consoles and games, and they do gaming news and stuff like that. So it was really interesting to see them. And Anthony Sardina, who is actually the project manager behind Final Fantasy VII Abridged. So he's on like, I guess, Team 4-Star's payroll. I'm assuming he is, and he's a voice actor, and I mean, he's managing this massive channel. He's helping manage this massive channel, I'm assuming. And the panel itself was actually kind of cringy. Another Canadian YouTuber who goes by the name of Sachi, she was watching it too. And there was this one like super embarrassing moment with one of the panelists, and then when it happens, I turn my back, and like Sachi's like doing the same thing. We're just like losing it. It was so funny. Like, that moment was probably like the funniest part of the panel itself. The aftermath of the panel was also really, really great. So after the panel ends, the Epic Game Music guy and the main guy behind HERE go, and I decide to just like strike up a conversation with Adam and Anthony, just about like YouTube and games and how they, I don't even remember the conversation, but we talked for like half an hour. And then it was just really productive and cool seeing other YouTubers that kind of share the same interests as you in terms of like the YouTube landscape and, gaming and, strategies behind this, that, and the other. And, Adam, the guy from HERE, he and I talked about even like Fire Emblem quite briefly. And we kind of talked about the cool GBA stuff and how memorable the animations were and whatnot. And, just seeing other passionate people talk about things that you're passionate about is really like different for me, because especially like in person, you don't get that kind of shit in like where I'm from, especially for like YouTube stuff. I have a buddy who like is really passionate about Monster Hunter, but when it comes to like Nintendo stuff, there's nobody who I can really kind of vibe with in that kind of way. The really memorable part about that YouTube panel experience was knowing that other Canadians are doing similar things that I am. I'm someone from a small town from the East Coast of, Nova Scotia, making, Nintendo Fire Emblem videos and stuff, of all things. And to learn that there are people who do this on a much grander scale with like a lot more production value, with a lot more reach, and like all the passion in the world. Like, they do this for their full-time job, and it's like, I didn't expect that to happen. And to see people like doing what I do to the point where it's their livelihood is really, really humbling. Like, super, like, and they're playing Flight Away in the same country too. It was just like so cool. And like, I didn't even hear these guys before, and here we are kind of, exchanging contacts and talking about, that. And then after going on Re-Rez's channel, I'm like, damn, the production value for these guys, they shoot in 4K, man. I have a fucking $180 Sony camcorder with a light setup that is literally just like, I don't even know, like, just living room lights that I bought at Canadian Tire, and these guys are like freaking 4K, 60 FPS, virtual reality. It's just like, pff, what do you mean, dude? What do you mean, bud? It was nuts. It was actually like nuts. Super humbling. And like, honestly, to see these people do it, I was starstruck. I was like, holy cow. I kind of felt nervous even talking to them, because it was like, these guys are pros. Like, these guys are literal professional YouTubers. And I'm like, not that. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, but like, it was just sick. It was such a cool experience. Adam from Re-Rez is my fucking dude. And like, Anthony Sardina, I don't even know if he remembers me, but like, he was a cool ass dude. Man, it was sick. Like, it was just so sick. The last major event for the convention was the Fire Emblem panel, which was not great. It was not very good. I was looking forward to it the most, because it was like, oh, there's a panel here. Like, my buddy, like my beta tester buddy, like, told me about the panel. I was like, dude, that sounds great. I'm so excited to see a bunch of Fire Emblem fans all like consolidated in one place. It would be cool. So what actually happened was, the panel room was too small, so there was a huge lineup, and I got in no problem because of my media pass. The lineup was huge. I met some more people who watched my stuff, which was really, really cool. If you missed the panel, like, you didn't miss a lot, which was kind of the unfortunate part. So in the booklet for Anime North, in the panel description, it said something along the lines of like a walkthrough of the history of the franchise we love so much. And I was like, oh, cool. So the panelists are going to like talk about the history of Fire Emblem. That's like, I don't really give a shit about like history videos and history kind of topics, but I was like, okay, cool. So maybe these guys will bring an interesting perspective in real time, like in real life, like in front of me. That could be interesting. Turns out, the panelists, like the whole panel jumped between conversations like my favorite class and gameplay tips. I don't know, like, personally, it wasn't really interesting. It didn't really have a sense of direction. It was really like, it was like a Q&A type kind of style thing, but it was mostly just seeing what sticks, and then they talked about what stuck. And then, unfortunately, when you kind of make a thing like that, you're going to get a lot of memes, very typical Fire Emblem arguments, or arguments in a panel setting, but it was, talk about Noe and Tharia, and, that hate was thrown around, like, very briefly. I wouldn't say hate, but, you know what you get yourself into when you mention Noe or Tharia, when those names get thrown around, and, there's only going to be one reason why it's talked about. Someone started saying how they hated Tharia so much, and then one of the guys who I met who watched my stuff turned around to me, and he was like, and I was just like, I don't know, dude, like, watch my video, please. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe I expected too much from a panel at a convention. I was hoping for more. Maybe panels are just like that. I was really only at like 2.5 panels for the entire thing. The silver lining for the Fire Emblem panel, though, was actually the aftermath, because me and Pavise and a handful of fans who were unsatisfied with the panel had a little bit of a powwow in the lounge area, where we all just talked about Fire Emblem. We talked about more kind of intimate subjects like Kaga's legacy and why we like this character, what pissed us off about some certain game. And then we had like a big photo at the end. It was really, really cool, and it really felt like it was a panel that I would have much enjoyed more of than what the Fire Emblem panel was. But it is what it is. Not to be a dick, it just wasn't that great. Okay, and yeah, so those were the big highlights for the convention itself. Like, honestly, it was a great experience overall. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be going to that convention again. I'm like 95% sure I'm going to go to the Anime North 2019 convention. Hopefully, since I go so rarely to conventions, I won't get a con burnout. As long as Pavise lets me crash on his basement, that'd be great. And the last thing I wanted to mention was something that I will never forget, ever. Which, honestly, might be the most insane part of... I don't want to throw out, like, hyperbole like that, but... see for yourself. I used to play RuneScape a lot. I used to play like every single day when in junior high. I played the most out of my friends. I played even when my friends were finished playing. RuneScape all of a sudden got really lame to my friends in like the 9th grade in high school and stuff, and like nobody played RuneScape in my high school. They thought it was really lame. But I closet played it. So like I secretly played it because I loved it so much. And in my time playing RuneScape, I met a guy online who ended up being like one of my closest RuneScape buddies. He lives in the Toronto area as well. And then we follow each other on Instagram. So I see them. He posts a story that he's at Anime North. Like he was at like the night concert thing. So I'm like, oh my god, I can actually meet this RuneScape buddy of mine that I've known online for years. Like, I DM him and I'm like, yo, like, are you in this area? Like, do you want to link up? He's like, fuck yeah. So, like, that night, he picks me up and I meet this guy and his brother who shared the account together, and we completely, like, we hit it off. Like, we never met each other before. Him and the brother who shared the account are, like, so fucking cool. We riffed really hard. We talked about RuneScape. We talked about all our mutual online RuneScape buddies and seeing like what they're up to and stuff. And he was like dropping like usernames and like avatars and stuff. And I was like, damn, I remember that person. Like I remember doing the follow that person and they follow you for like the dance thing in RuneScape. And it was like, what? This is actually happening. It was so sick. Like I met my RuneScape best friend basically. Man, it was sick. That was the best. Like, it was so fun. We drank beer. We drank beer. We watched, like, Game 6 of Boston and... no, it was Game 7, I think, of Boston and Cleveland when Cleveland took the series over Boston. And it was, like, we played Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Like, we just hung out. Like, we hung out at campfires. We ate. Like, it was just so cool. Like... and now I have a place, like, he's gonna be there in the area next year, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm definitely gonna visit him again for perhaps longer. Like, such a great experience, like, such a great time meeting him, like, finally meeting him. He's sick. That was one of the best parts of the convention, just seeing my RuneScape buddy. Oh, man. That was fun. And, like, I hope you're watching this, bud, because it was sick. That was pretty much the weekend. Then I flew back. And then I worked the next day. In terms of next videos that I hope to release for this month, I'm going to start writing for the Zhark. I don't really know how to pronounce his name yet. I have to look it up. Support Science. He's a cool character. He's pretty chill. Probably one of the more written up characters in Telius. Someone's knocking my door. That video, and then I still have to edit the video for the 40,000 subscriber Q&A video that I never got around to. I answered all the questions that were there, then I just kind of forgot about it, and then I started working on other things. And I still hope to make a Bloodlines video of just kind of the features of the next patch, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I don't really see a playthrough in the foreseeable future, but I'm just kind of working on scripted videos that are just really strong for the channel and that do really, really well. And Gas Bizarre Adventure 2, which has really, really good analytics. So I'm probably going to continue working on that. Just September is a crazy month for work. I work at a gym. We pretty much have a monopoly in our town, which means September, when all the students come back, it's literally crazy. Like, it's nonstop on your feet for the entire day. So very busy month for me. Hopefully I can find some time for like, you know, hopefully like these videos can come out in September. If not, that's unfortunate, but they are on the radar. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around, and welcome to the new folks who are here. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.